So welcome to part 3 of my Cosmic Beauty necklace video. I'm sorry that it's taking me several days to do this, but I had to get some proper materials so that I could continue. The materials that I'm going to be using for this video are as follows. I'm continuing to use my size 15-0 seed beads, and these are the Manicure opaque luster gunmetal color. I'm using my 11-0 seed beads, and these are Toho and in the black color. I'm using my Delicas, my color A, which is my galvanized silver 11-0 Delicas. I'm using some 6mm jump rings. These are my stainless steel ones, and I'm using a stainless steel toggle. I am using 6-pound Fireline in the crystal color. And when you're using it, make sure that you string on a comfortable length of thread, and don't try to overdo it, because you want to make the straps with one length of thread. You could tie on if you need to, but just be comfortable. I'm using a size 10 beading needle, and I'm using my bead board, of course, and my scissors. So if you are interested in making this necklace strap, you don't even have to have an embellished cosmic ring. You can just have a plain cosmic ring, because we're going to be making 2 straps, one for each side of the neck. And you can do this. It's simple. I'm going to teach you a couple of beading techniques with this. I'm going to do herringbone with some embellishments, and we're going to put those together, and we're going to do some right angle weave with embellishments. Oh, I forgot. We need these crystals. Did I say we were using these crystals? The bicones, the Potomac 2mm bicones. We're using these as well. All right, so if you're interested in this necklace strap, gather your materials and we will get started. To begin this part of the project, I'm just going to work with my Delicas and my 15-0s. We need to make a bail. And the bail will surround our cosmic ring. And this is not the one that I'm going to use it for. I'm just, using it as an example. And we're just going to make a length of herringbone that will just make a circle around this, and so that we can continue on and do our actual necklace strap. So I'm going to start my herringbone stitch by stringing on 2 of my Delicas. I'm going to bring this down and leave a short tail, because I don't really need to, I don't really need a tail. I'm just using it for something to hold on to, maybe 3-4 inches, and then I'm going to get rid of that tail. After I string my 2, I'm going to circle around and pass my needle into the first bead that's on, and when I pull my thread, we're going to get our herringbone formation. These beads sit side by side, and that is our herringbone formation. If you know this as a different stitch, it's the Ndebele stitch, and I believe that's what they call it in Africa, but right here in New York State, we're going to call it herringbone. And we're going to continue by stringing on 2 more of our Delicas. My thread is exiting out of the top of the Delica on the left, and with the 2 new Delicas that I have on, I'm just going to pass my needle down into the right side Delica. All right. And I'm going to make sure that they are sitting side by side, and they can be coming out of formation, because it's not loose, it's really A little floppy right now, but right now we have our 2 sets of herringbone, and I'm going to get into position to make my 3rd herringbone. Oh, well, there you go. By passing my needle up into the 2 Delicas that are on the left. And when I pull my thread, of course, we're going to have our setup, but now the thread is a little more secure. It's a little more fixed, and I can't really move these beads. I can't pull the thread up or down. They are really fixed. So we're going to continue on by stringing on 2 of our Delicas, and I'm going to pass down into, and of course my thread is exiting here on the left. I'm going to pass down into the top Delica on the right, pull my thread and get our formation, make sure that these are sitting properly, and once here I'm going to string on 1 size 15/0 seed bead, and I'm going to pass my needle up into the corresponding Delica bead on the left and the one above it. The reason I'm passing my needle into the 2 is because this makes the straight herringbone. If I was passing it down into this bottom one or up into the top one, we would be making twisted herringbone, and right now we're doing the straight flat herringbone, and we're not doing anything that's twisted. So I'm passing my needle up into, you see where my thread is exiting here, where I went through the top seed bead, Delica bead on the right. Well, I'm passing it up into the corresponding Delica on the left, but I have my size 15/0 seed bead on, which is going to give us a little embellishment. So pull my thread, and once I pull my thread, this is still a little fiddly. This is what we should have. We've got our 3 rows of Delicas and our 1 embellishment, size 15/0. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to have 16 rows of these beads. And right now I have strung on 2 Delicas, which will represent the 4th row of my ladder stitch. Pull my thread down, get my formation, string on a size 15/0, and pass my needle up into the corresponding Delica bead on the left side, and the Delica above it, which represents the repositioning. Well, let's get in there. Which represents our repositioning or our step up. And when I pull my thread, this is what we'll have, a mess. I have my threads tangled up. All right, here we are. So here we are. Let's see. The light isn't going to get any better, but this can get better so that you can see where we are and what we're doing. All right. Now, I'm going to do that with you one more time because it's too easy, and we're stringing on 2 of our Delicas. Needle is exiting the left side, the top left side Delica bead. We pass our needle down into the top Delica on the right. Pull the thread and get it caught on my bead board. My tangle up show. String on a size 15. Pass my needle into the corresponding Delica bead on the left and the Delica bead above it. Well, since I'm having trouble with that right now, let's just do this. I'm going to pull the thread with the size 15 on it. That sets up and it gives us our rows of Delicas and our embellishments, but if we try to add our beads from right here where my thread is exiting, that's not going to work. We're going to have our projects start going out that way. That's not what I'm working for today. That would be a different project. But right now, I need to get into position, which is doing our step up by going up into the top bead, sorry about that, top bead on the right. All right, and this is how you should be positioned if you want to continue. And I'm going to turn off the camera, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up my 16 rows of Delicas with the size 15-0 embellishments. And when I'm done, I will get back with you to show you what we're going to do next. I've completed my 16 rows of herringbone, and I've done my embellishment, but as you can see, I have one missing. So I'm simply going to, without adding any beads, pass my needle down into the Delica on the right and string on a size 15-0 and just pass my needle back up into the corresponding Delica on the left and pull, and now I have all of my embellishments on my rows. And don't worry about if your piece is curving, because we need it to curve, because we're going to wrap it around our piece. Now if I take a regular cosmic ring and I pass this in, and you can do this, you can take anything you can find and just do a cute little herringbone, embellished herringbone strip, and zip it up and make that your focal piece, or just make that your bail. You could put a big jump ring on here at the top and just run a chain around it, and there you have it. You have, you know, your focal piece, your embellishment that you did, bail. There you have it. But I'm going to make something different. I'm not going to use this plain cosmic ring, but if you wanted to, or anything that you could find that you could do this pattern around, you could do it. Make something your own. I'm just going to take my focal piece here, and I'm going to take my strip, pass it through, and how about let's get this tail out of there. Well, that's funny, I was holding on to it. Yeah, just pass that through, and we're going to have our strip just like this, just like that. I'm going to pass my needle into, from this side, I'm going to stay on this side, I'm going to pass my needle into the Delica bead where the tail thread is exiting, and I'm just going to go through that one Delica bead. I'm trying to stay in frame. Okay, I'm just going to put these together, and of course I have my tail thread in the way. I don't want to get rid of it yet, but I'm just going to put that over here. All right, so these are together, and I'm going to now pass my needle into the corresponding Delica bead on the right side, which ends up being this one, but I want to go through that 15-0 first, and down, and up here was, well, which would be down into this Delica, the first one here on the right side. That's all right, we cleared up, and when I pull the thread, we want to get these a little closer together and get my thread out of the way, my tail thread out of the way again, and I'm going to go back into this side of my strip here, into this first Delica bead right here on this side that will correspond with where I came out of on this side. I should be able to pull these tightly and they get together. So they're in, they're connected. There's a problem though. They are not secure. So how do I make them secure? Well, I'm going to reinforce. I'm going to actually pass through this 15-0 here and do that same connection that I just did by going, see, they're together now. It's a little easier to manage. So now I can go right through both of them together and into this. I'm holding on to my tail thread is right here. I need to put it over here. I'm going back into the 15-0 on this side, on the top side, back down into these two, and pull the thread. Now this time I'm not going to, and I'm going to go back again. Now back again, let me finish that thought. I'm going to go back again, and I'm not going to add a 15-0 in here, and I am also not going to go back into the 15-0 again. I'm just going to go jump over it and come to this side and go into the first Delica bead again where we started with the same one, and and you'll know you're in the right one because the tail thread is still exiting out of this seed bead here, coming that way, but I'm holding it in my hand. So I'm just going to get here, and this is where I want to be, right here where there's no 15-0 on the top, because I'm going to begin the strap. So right now I have made the bail. We are attached to our focal piece on this side. We have corresponding colors. It's moving freely. That's what you want it to do. You don't want it to be in there so tightly that it can't move. You want it to be able to move freely and be a little flexible. And from right here, I'm going to begin to add the seed beads that I need to add to make my right angle weave unit. So right now we want to begin our right angle weave unit, and I have taken the liberty to string on 2 size 11-0 seed beads. My needle is exiting this Delica bead right here, and I'm going to pass the needle into the corresponding Delica bead to the right of it and let my beads set up. Now these aren't, I don't want them to be laying like this for herringbone. I want them to be standing perpendicular, or so that we can begin our unit. But I'm going to resolve that in a second. But I have to go through, I want to reinforce those size 11-0 seed beads. So I'm going to pass my needle into these Delica beads, the next 2 Delica beads on the left side, and untangle my thread again. And I don't want to get that thread behind that 15-0. So there you are. And then I'm going to again come over this way to the right and pass the needle into the 1 Delica bead. I don't want to get all caught up in the 15-0. I just want to come to that 1 Delica bead there on the right, and again with my thread entanglement, and then I'm going to go into my seed beads, my 11-O's this way. Well, and this way, just like this, and I'm going to make them stand. And this is the position that I want them in. I want them standing just like this. And I want to reinforce them one more time. And I'm going to go back through this seed bead in the back. I'm sorry, this Delica bead on the left side in the back of it. Today, pass my needle there. On that left side, and this time I'm going to come back, I'm going to come down into the 2 Delicas on the right, and my Delicas are getting pretty filled up with thread, and I don't want to keep chancing fate, and I'm going to complete my reinforcement of that connection right there. And now I'm just going to come up into this Delica on the left, just that one. There you go. And this time, pass my needle here into these 2 11-O's. Well, that was a doozy. Okay, so now they're in there. And my connection for my right angle weave unit is complete. I'm going to weave my tail thread in and get rid of it now, and you don't have to watch me do that. I'm just going to get another needle and just, you know, go around into my herringbone, and I'm going to cut that off. And when we come back, we will begin our strap with our right angle weave units for the right side of the necklace. See you in a minute. I've completed weaving in my tail thread, and now we are going to advance our strap by making our embellished right angle weave units. I'm going to make units using 2 seed beads per side. So with my bottom side already on, I need to make my right side, my top side, and my left side, which means that I'm stringing on 6 seed beads. We're going to need 8 seed beads per unit. We already have 2, and I strung on 6, and I'm going to circle back and pass my needle into the unit, the 2 bottom for the unit, and we've made our circle. And I'm going to set these with 1 15-0 seed bead between the sides right here. See this? String on another 15-0 seed bead, pass through the next 2, string on a 15-0 seed bead, pass through the next 2, and my last 15-0 seed bead, string through the bottom again. This does 2 things for us. It reinforces the unit, and it it makes our units square. So we should have a square unit. It defines the shape of our unit. That's what it does. And then at this point here, I'm going to string on a 15-0, a 2mm crystal, and a 15-0, and I'm going to pass my needle into the top two 11-0s right there. With my needle, with my thread exiting the right side of the bottom two seed beads, I'm going to make a diagonal pass with my needle. I'm going to pass my needle from left to right into these top two seed beads, and when I pull my thread, that's going to place our crystal right there in the center. Okay, and we're going to move along and continue to do this. So now I am at the point of the right angle weave unit, where now this, which is the top of this unit, is now going to become the bottom of the next unit. However, I'm going to give it some texture, and I'm going to do a ladder stitch. I have strung on 2 of my silver Delicas. I'm going to pass those Delicas back into those 2 11-0 seed beads, and I'm going to go back here, up here, just like this, and just reinforce that, just like that. Just go right back into it, just like that. Just make sure that we don't have any any looseness here, and that will give it some texture just by putting those little Delicas right there. I know you're going to see the thread, but what we're going to do is set up for our next unit. I'm going to make the bottom of our next unit by stringing on 2 size 11-0 seed beads, and I'm going to pass the needle here back into those 2 Delicas. I've got okay, all right, I'm tangled up over here. All right, and again, I'm going to go through these seed beads and make sure that they are, I'm going to turn it this way so that I can manage it better. Make sure that they are reinforced. Just pull the thread there and come right back around here into those Delicas, and now here into these seed beads again. Now I'm just going to turn it back to the front. I am having a tangled up time over here. So this is where we stand. This is what we look like right now. And I'm going to now complete my right angle weave unit. I've got the bottom, and now I need the right side, the top, and the left side, which means I need 6 seed beads. So I'm strung on my 6 seed beads, and I'm passing my needle back into these seed beads here on the bottom. Pull my thread, and we're going to define our shape by stringing on a 15-0, pass my needle through the next 2 11-0s, and I don't want to move because I have done the ultimate tangle. All right, here we are. Okay, and I'm just pulling this with my finger so that my beads don't come out of formation. And as I'm looking at this down here, it seems like I want to put something else. Seems like I might need to put some 15-0s right there, because I'm not liking the way that my thread is showing there. But right now we're just going to continue going on like this, and if I decide to do something later with that, I will. But I'm going to continue by making my right angle weave units. Filling in, making these square. So I strung on a 15-0. I'm passing the needle into the top two 11-0 seed beads, stringing on a 15-0, passing my needle down into the left side seed beads, stringing on a 15-0, and passing the needle into the bottom seed beads, and let's see what I can do here. You know, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to leave it just like that. That's going to be fine. Now, right here, I'm going to string on a 15-0, a crystal, a 15-0, and I'm going to position myself diagonally. My thread is going to go diagonally from the bottom right to the top left, and I'm going to pass my needle this way from left to right into the top two seed beads. And when I pull my thread, this is what we get. All right. Make sure you have everything set the way you want it. And what we need to do is a ladder stitch with two Delicas. Pass them into these top two seed beads and continue with our right angle weave. Oh, that'll be fine. Yes, that's going to be fine. Pass the needle here again, just to reinforce the ladder stitch. Okay, the ladder stitch unit. There you go. And we're going to do that all over again. And we'll start off by getting two more of our 11-0 seed beads, and we will ladder stitch them to the Delicas, just like this. And then I'm just going to turn it this way so that I can have comfort in holding my needle and just reinforcing here. I decided I'm just going to leave the thread there because it looks like it adds some texture to what we're doing. Okay, now I'm going to turn this right back around to the front, and this is what we're working with. At this point, you continue with your reinforcement, and continue adding your beads to make your units. And remember, once we're here, we need to add on 6 more seed beads and make our right angle weave unit by passing through, and just continue, you know, the same way that we did here. We make our unit, we define our shape by putting our 15-0s in between the sides, and then we add our embellishment and pass back up here, and we add our texture, and then we ladder stitch the bottom of the next right angle weave unit. and we can continue doing that. I will do this one with you so that you can see what we're doing. I have my 6 seed beads on, and passing back around into the 2 bottom. Once we get here, we're going to define our shape. I'm stringing on 1 15-0 seed bead, and I'm passing through the next 2 11-0s. And I'm just holding on to those so that they don't come out of formation. String on another 15-0 seed bead, pass my needle into the top 2. Pull the thread. You see what we're doing? We're defining our shape. String on a 15-0 seed bead, pass the needle down onto the left side 2. Hold on to it, and we're defining our shape. String on 1 15-0 seed bead and pass our needle into the bottom 2. And we should have a clearly defined right angle weave unit that's not going to come out of the shape. And this is how we're going to make our strap. Now that we're here, I'm going to string on a, I accidentally went through this 15-0, the first 15-0 that I put on here. I'm going to back out of that. I don't need to be going into that seed bead. That is not, that would mess it up. That would have a pretty wonky shape. But once here now, we've got a knot in our thread. Got to take that knot out. And I'm going to string on 1 15-0, 1 crystal, 1 15-0, and pass the needle. I'm going to position it diagonally and pass my needle into left to right into these top 2 11-0 seed beads. And there you go. That's that, and tighten that in there. As we say, arrange that, and then 1 ladder stitch with Delicas, 2 Delicas and a ladder stitch. And reinforce the ladder stitch. And then our 2 size 11-0, regular 11-0 seed beads, so that we can prepare for our next right angle weave unit. Ladder stitch right here and reinforce them. And once you get your once you're done reinforcing, you're now in position to continue making the right angle weave units with their definition, and then you embellish and then you texturize. So that's how they should go. And when you get to the top, when you make the length that you need, we're going to end with the 2 seed beads in the ladder stitch, so that we can get ready to add our jump rings and our toggle clasp. So continue making your right angle weave embellished units, and I will see you when you are done with the length of your strap. I've completed the right side of my necklace strap, and it's about 8 inches in length, and with those 8 inches I made 23 units with my Toho seed beads. Now the only thing I'm going to do right now is reposition. I have ended off with my 2 black seed beads at the end, and I'm going to make a loop with some 15-0 seed beads. I believe 6 would be good. The only thing I'm going to do with that is open up the jump ring and put it in there with the toggle bar. This is the right side. Let me just see if this is enough. 6 is, oh, it's absolutely enough. So I have 6 15-0 seed beads, and I'm just going to circle around just like this, just to make the loop, and I'm going to reinforce this about 3 times, as many times as the thread will go through the beads. And I'm going to end the thread when I am done with this side, and I'm going to attach my jump ring and my toggle bar on the right side, and do the other side, and I'll be done. And I will see you when I'm done. If you did need a little I don't know, tutorial on opening jump rings, I forgot to mention these tools in my tool list, my materials list for this strap, but you need some pliers. So I've got my little chain nose here, and then my bent nose, and the only thing I'm going to do is find the opening, and you can see it right here, and you grab one, you hold it, you hold each side, and you twist. So you just take one and you twist. That's not how you twist. This is how you twist. You don't pull apart, because pulling them apart, pulling the sides apart, compromises the strength of your ring. And the only thing I'm going to do with this is slide my toggle bar on, and then slide this loop in here, and then I'm just going to close the ring back after I am done with my, well, I don't know, this one, after I'm done with the reinforcing. But that's how you do it. If you needed a tutorial on opening and closing jump rings, you just need a couple of pairs of pliers, and you just twist. Open and close by twisting. It's open and close by twisting. That's all. Just like that. And this keeps the integrity, and you also can make sure that it's closed all the way, that there's no gap in there where your project can fall out. And also, if you find that you have to add another jump ring, it's just as simple to do it like that. So that's all you have to do. Twist open. What is that? Twist open, twist close. All right, so I will see you when my project is complete. This is my completed project, my Cosmic Beauty necklace. I hope you like it. I hope you had the patience to hang out with me for the 3-part video, and I hope you try to make this project. I enjoy doing it, and stay tuned for other parts, because I believe now I'll make a set. And again, thank you for hanging out with me. Hope to see you next time.